Oh, what is up, my dudes and dudettes? We are back. Behind that camera is Colleen, and I am Todd. And if you are new to this channel, we make these outrageously time-consuming videos of us converting this 2022 Sprinter cargo van you see around me here into the ultimate adventure vehicle on wheels. Now you may be wondering, why am I laying on the floor right now? Well, that's because we're going to talk about this baby. This is a custom seat swivel base that we made for our passenger seat solution, featuring the broad arrow bed bench seat. This thing faces forward when you're driving, swivels into a love seat when you're stopped, and even folds down to a bed at night. And also features this cool little night light that we added here, featuring the custom Moonraker logo. Now, if you want to see how we built this, join us. I'm going to stop talking because it's actually pretty uncomfortable to lay on the ground like this. Let's get into it. Good morning, friends. It's a beautiful fall morning here in California, and we are working on the swivel seat base. That is version 1 back there. It works great. I did make one small mistake where it was actually too close to the wall so it couldn't swivel, so I had to re-drill holes on that prototype there. And my wife said that it was a little bit tall, so we went ahead and just made a second version of this, addressing some of those things outright. This is the second version right here. You can see it's a little bit shorter, and because of that, this opening got a little bit smaller, so I thought that it would be kind of difficult to reach in here. You can see my arm barely fits, so we went to a drawer design instead. So this drawer will actually slide out so that we can utilize this space underneath the seat to put some of our things. The other thing that's kind of cool is I got this pixel array here. This is going to go behind the Moonraker logo. I need to go pick up one more piece from Tap Plastics, which is an LED diffuser, but this is going to allow us to do some pretty cool designs with these individual indexable LEDs, and also create a little night light in the evening because these are RGBW LEDs. So let's go ahead and get this thing all fit checked, make sure everything fits, and we can get it sent off to powder coat. All right, with this fit check, we're just kind of assembling everything and making sure all the holes line up and everything is good from CAD to the real world. This main base fits together in 3 pieces. There's this big C shape that goes around the whole thing, and then you have this front and rear piece that slide in there and get bolted with some M8 screws. On the actual drawer itself, the back will get fastened with these rivets because it's back on the back and no one will see it, and they're just a lot cheaper to do it that way. And the front has these studs on it so that the front surface is completely flat, flush with no hardware. You know that we like that here. I'm going to go ahead and install and check these Accuride slides as well. These get bolted on the side here. You can see we've got these standoffs. These are just little threaded standoffs. I threaded on both sides. This just spaces this thing out to the appropriate position where we needed it to be. So we're going to go ahead and install these and check to make sure everything fits.
Unfortunately, you can't account for everything. I took the CAD from Accuride as face value, and unfortunately there were some differences between it and the slides I ended up with. This is because there are multiple flavors in the same family. Here's a classic case of I should have checked the 2D drawing, but nothing a drill can't fix for me. Am I right? I also had to add my own countersinks on a few of the parts for this project. My vendor who made the plates couldn't fit this large of a part in their countersinking machine. So I bought this beast of a countersink from Jeff Bezos, aka Amazon, which probably paid for 1 square of Tahitian vanilla scented silk toilet paper for his most recent journey on his 127 meter long super yacht. Anyways, while I was there, I also picked up a chamfer bit for my router to knock down all the edges on the laser cut parts. Even though they are deburred, there is nothing quite like a chamfered edge for me, and this solution works surprisingly well. If you follow this channel, you'll probably remember we even wrote a song about chamfering in our porch light video. With the fit check complete, we shipped everything off to the powder coater. My friend Nick Newhouse with Newhouse Metalworks sends stuff to powder coating all the time, so I sort of use him as a courier. Thanks Nick, and his dad who usually does the driving. And that, my friends, is why I am an engineer instead of a professional basketball player. For the powder coat, we went with Prismatic Powder's Caveman Black.
Alright, here's the little light box for the seat base. I didn't powder coat this because of the tolerance stack up. I've got an Adafruit Trinket M0 in the back there that's on those plastic standoffs. And then I have this Adafruit 8x8 64 LED array right here. The white wire is the signal wire from the Trinket to the Adafruit array. This blue wire, this is going to go out to the accent lighting. So when the accent lighting gets turned on, no matter what's going on here, this will go to like a soft, nice, just night light. I think that will be a really nice touch. And then the other ones are mainly power coming out here. And then I also have this USB that comes out the front side. This will just be in the seat base. I'll probably put some foam around it just in case I ever need to reprogram it or anything. I don't have to take the whole thing apart. Okay, I just finished the seat base wiring. I've got an M12 threaded connector here. These are really common in industrial applications. It's 4 pins, meaning there's 4 wires. 2 of those wires, black and white, come in here. Those are the signal for when the accent light is on in the van, and that will change this light on the seat base to just a nice, simple, single color, warm white night light. The other 2 are brown and blue. Those go into this guy, which is a step-down transformer. So that basically takes 12 to 24 volts and puts out 5 volts, which the Trinket and the array run off of. Those wires go up across here. There's a little relay here. This is the relay for the signal. So this is a 12 volt coil relay. So when the 12 volts from the accent lights come on, it closes these 2 wires coming out of it here, which basically short a signal wire to ground on the Trinket, so that the Trinket can actually read that signal because it doesn't take 12 volts. And then the other wires, they connect in through some more Wago connectors here, and they go in to the box. This is ground and this is power here. So that's the 5 volts that's going to power this thing up. They go into the side there.
And then this is that USB connection that I just have here. I'm going to leave this out for programming and stuff like that. So I can connect it to the computer if I ever need to make changes. And I'll just coil it up behind the actual rail here for the drawer. So that's everything kind of wired up there. And I'm going to probably wrap some tape, some sound deadening tape around these so that they don't rattle. Just kind of tape them up out of the way. I went with a drawer slide that has auto close features since the drawer opens in the direction of travel of the vehicle. My rationale is if you accidentally didn't close the latch all the way, you wouldn't want this thing flying out when stopping. For assembling the back of the drawer, I went with rivets since it's cheap and easy fastening solution. However, for the front of the box, I went with pressed studs, nuts, and washers, so it's perfectly flat and clean, giving us that crispy look that we are known for. The next step in the assembly process required me to fully remove the drawer, which at this point I noticed a minor issue that didn't show up in the fit check. The drawer and the latch interfered by about 1 millimeter. Unfortunate, but nothing a little die grinder can't take care of. So I die a little on the inside as I die grind off a bit of the fresh powder coat and cover up my mistake with a couple layers of Sharpie ink. The seat swivel design relies simply on a friction stack-up. 2 metal plates sandwich a Delrin plate, a type of plastic known for its low friction and abrasion resistance, as well as being dimensionally stable and easy to machine. Then this whole sandwich is sandwiched even tighter by another Delrin bushing and another round plate on top of that. 6 bolts go in with special spring force washers underneath, giving us a tunable and perfect preload. Okay, so I added one more change here, unfortunately after powder coat, but I added a through hole through this plate as well as the acetyl slide plate, because I realized in order to screw this in from the underside of the seat, it actually makes more sense to have access right here, because what I didn't realize is in order to get access to the screw, I was tilting it so far that the seat was actually going into the wall. Well, in the future, I want to be able to take the seat off without having to take the wall off. So my solution was to just drill an access hole here when it's in the neutral position, and you just won't see it. So I'll update the CAD later on that, but yeah, punch that in. I'm going to paint it and we're going to move along.
Well, my friends, that wraps up another video in the Adventure Van build series. We really hope you enjoyed it. As for this seat, it is kid tested, mother approved, just like the Kick cereal. We recently completed a road trip where we drove 10 hours in each direction, and both Colleen and the baby loved it. The seat is actually quite comfortable, so there's that. Overall, this project is an intermediate level, especially if you're going to design and build one of these base seats yourself. You have to have the CAD knowledge, the vendor knowledge, how to create prints and drawings so other people can make this if you don't have the fabrication tools in-house. If you buy one of these off the shelf, however, it does drop that level down a little bit, but it's still always a little bit scary drilling holes through the floor of the van to mount L-tracks and brackets. So it's not for the faint of heart in general, and you may want to consider professional installation for something like this. Overall, the cost of the project, I spent about $1,800. Depending on the exchange rates, that may fluctuate up and down a little bit to ship this thing from Canada down to California where I live for the seat itself. Now the seat base, I spent about $1,500 to fabricate and make that, mostly because I had to make it twice, as we talked about earlier in this video, to make those changes to make it perfect for how we wanted, which is still significantly cheaper than what you can buy it for off the shelf. And this is why I'm such a strong proponent of learning these engineering skills, because not only does it unlock the opportunity for you to create projects like this and tailor them exactly how you want them, but it also saves a bunch of money in the end too, if you can do a lot of this design and stuff yourself. Overall, this project, it probably took me about 40 to 60 hours of time. It's hard to keep track of this when it spans over weeks and months and shipping to powder coat and ordering parts from suppliers. But if I sat down and did this from scratch, that's about how much I would estimate the time and effort to pull this off. If you like what we are doing, please give us a thumbs up on this video. It actually really does help us out. If you have any questions or comments about anything you've seen here, drop those down below. I do respond to each and every one of you. And on your way down there, you know what to do. Please slap that subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one. Overall, this project is definitely in a cargo van you see behind me here, or in me here, around me here. Custom Swivel Suite base we made. Swivel Suite base.